Good afternoon, everyone. Virgo here. It is March 20th, 2019. I am going to be going over some very important pieces of information with regards to Mr. Winston Shrout, and I invite all of you to please be patient with me as I'm going to backtrack some. I want to make sure that people understand who Winston is. I want to make sure that people understand the progression of what has occurred here. Mr. Winston Shrout is a guru for the TDA accounts. He is someone who is a tax protester and who sold webinars and packages to people claiming that they could get out of debt and avoid paying taxes if they just followed his specific rules. And came to his webinars and used his paperwork. Very like what Miss April Lejeune does on her YouTube channel and her Periscope channel in trying to sell falsified documentation at $1,000 a pop that she fills out for her customer base. Winston Shrout did the same thing starting back in the mid-2000s, and as of 2015 was indicted by the federal government. And we're going to go ahead and take you over here to the actual sentencing memorandum for Winston Shrout. And as you can see, this has all of his attorney's information. It has the United States District Court, District of Oregon, Portland Division, and this is the government's sentencing memorandum. I'm going to read the government's recommendation because I want for everyone to understand how serious this situation became. The government recommendation for Winston Shrout has to do with the sentencing, of course, and how long the government suggested that a 70-year-old man should remain in custody over his crimes that he pushed out onto the public. I want you to keep in mind that at the time that Winston was indicted in 2015, they had found that he had defrauded over $500,000 from people. The government's recommendation reads as such. The United States recommends a sentence in this case at least 20 years imprisonment, 240 months, which represents a sentence below the advisory guidelines range and appropriately accounts for each of the statutory factors set in forth Title 18 United States Government Sentencing Memorandum. The government further recommends a period of 5 years of supervised release with special release conditions that immediately bar the defendant from 1. Participating in any manner in any seminar, class, video, or audio podcast, educational forum, or lecture regarding federal taxation, or the use of creation of financial instruments, publishing or selling any text or document advising or counseling others regarding federal taxation, or the use or creation of financial instruments, and 3, assisting, advising, or counseling others in the preparation of federal or state tax returns of any type, or the use of creation of financial instruments of any type. Finally, the defendant should be ordered to pay restitution in the amount of $191,226.10 to the Internal Revenue Service. This is a case of pure fraud. Defendant Winston Shrout masterminded and orchestrated a scheme to defraud the United States and financial institutions that spanned many years and multiple jurisdictions. He blatantly created fictitious financial instruments and used them in a nefarious scheme to defraud financial institutions and the federal government out of trillions of dollars. Trillions of dollars. Defendant Shrout also made hundreds of thousands of dollars peddling this scheme through seminars, videos, and materials, yet never filed a single tax return, nor paid a single penny in tax on any of his income for over at least 10 years. I'm going to stop there. I'm going to go ahead and add this to the description of this video so that you can read it for yourself. Let me tell you that before I go further with this and I explain to you what's going on with Winston now, that this is exactly the scheme, exactly what April LeJeune is doing, and all I have to say is tick-tock, April, tick-tock. It does eventually catch up to you, and you could stop your scam today, and it wouldn't matter, because the FBI already has all of your previous videos that actually implicate you in exactly the same way, if not worse, than Winston Shrout. All right, everyone, I'm going to go ahead and take you over now to the court listener case. This is the original case. This is the case that actually was the United States versus Shrout District Court in Oregon's case. This is prior to it getting to the appeals court, the Court of Appeals. And I want to talk to you a bit about this for a second. I want to make sure that you guys have the knowledge of what occurred throughout the case. You can see that this was actually started December 8th of 2015. Winston Shrout managed to keep himself out of prison with the assistance of the district, or of the attorney that was actually provided to him, which was a very good attorney. He had every excuse in the book, from his health to mental illness. And as a result, because of his age, he is a 70-year-old man. He claims that he speaks to aliens, and that he has some mental issues. He clearly does, as we see, but the main mental issue is that he is a narcissist. He absolutely is a con man, and I would say probably very close to being, if not being, a psychopath. This is somebody who absolutely took people for as much money as he could get his hands on. And as a result of that, and as we can see from looking at the actual case, even the court attempted to go lenient on him. He's very charismatic, as most con men are. And as a result of all of the different filings and all of the different claims that were made out of this 70-year-old man, the judge tried to go easy on him, tried to let him stay out on bail, on bond, attempted to try to help him out along the way. Eventually, it came down in 2018 to Winston having to have a evaluation on his mental health done. And when that evaluation was done and he was found sound to stand trial, he did. And he lost, and he was sentenced to 10 years in federal prison. But Winston had one more thing that he wanted to give a shot before this was over with. Winston had his attorney file a motion requesting that while this specific case was heard by the Court of Appeals, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, that Winston be allowed to remain out on his current bond, and thereby not actually turning himself into the Bureau of Prisons, even though the sentencing had been ruled on and the case was closed as far as the main court was concerned. He wanted for the judge to agree to allow him to remain out on bond until the Court of Appeals decided on his case. Well, this was too much for the judge, and the judge said, no, you have to turn yourself in. You are supposed to turn yourself in to the Sheridan Federal Facility. And as a result of that, Winston went ahead and filed the motion with the Court of Appeals. Well, on March 1st, the Court of Appeals came back and said, absolutely not. You must turn yourself into FCI Sheridan, the Bureau of Prisons, and that's the end of the story. That's the end of the story. So, as of March 4th, as of March 1st, Winston was supposed to turn himself in to the Bureau of Prisons. What you're currently looking at is the Bureau of Prisons inmate locator, which is located at www.bop.gov/inmate-LOC. And as you can see, Winston Shrout, register number 78952-065, age 70, white male, is not in BOP custody. The reason he's not in BOP custody is because Winston Shrout is officially a fugitive. Even though the information is actually not located within the original case at the moment, it is located in the PACER location, and this is actually information from an attorney who was able to get into the PACER document so that I could give you guys this information. And I'm going to read this to you as it stands. It will shortly be moved over to the court listener free website that you guys will be able to actually take a look at in the description that I leave, the link in the description that I leave for you guys. It may take a couple of days to get over there. This is the correct information, and anybody who contacts the Bureau of Prisons, they will inform you of this. So I am absolutely 100% sure that this is accurate. Winston Shrout is indeed a fugitive at this point. The Department of Justice has just moved to dismiss his appeal because the defendant is currently a fugitive, having failed to surrender to the Bureau of Prisons. According to the terms of the district court's order, defendant was obligated to surrender to FCI Sheridan on the first Monday following the denial. That is on March 4th, 2019, docket number 183. Defendant failed to surrender as ordered. See bop.gov/inmate locator as of March 20th, 2019. Winston Shrout is not in custody. On March 5th, 2019, the district court issued an arrest warrant, docket number 189, sealed document. Defendant was therefore a fugitive when he filed the opening brief on March 18th, 2019. Winston Shrout has just become a fugitive of justice. I question at the time that the judge made the ruling that Winston would be allowed to remain out up until the point that the sentencing was finalized. And when Winston continued to attempt to try to file motions in order to remain out while the Court of Appeals decided whether they were going to dismiss his case or not, at that point, it was pretty evident to me that he was planning on doing something that wasn't right. And this is something that I have been following very closely, as the majority of you know. So now we have Winston Shrout as a fugitive of justice. And, of course, we all know that Druanna Wales is out in Mexico, where she is has a couple of felony counts and warrants out looking for her. So how long is it really going to be, do you think, April? How long before you have been indicted, April LeJune? All right, everyone, I hope this is helpful to you. Please look in the description for the links that I will provide to you so that you can take a look at all of this stuff yourself. As I said on the court listener link, you're going to need to wait a few days before this information is updated. It can take a couple of weeks, as a matter of fact. However, if you want to contact the Bureau of Prisons, you can contact FCI Sheridan in Oregon Federal Prison, and they will inform you of this. I have contacted them myself personally and spoken to them, so I know that they will do that. I don't know whether there will be a news article out on this or not, but if there is, I will let everybody know in my community section of a link to that. I hope everybody has a great day and this was helpful. Everybody, take care. Bye-bye.